On air from Nashville, it's me, Ruthe Rosen.
And on air from Seattle, it's me, Tim Tackett. Welcome to the Let It Be podcast. In today's episode, we're going to close out our series on our learned wisdom of control, choices taken. And Ruthe, I actually would love for you to read one more time that learned wisdom.
Okay, I certainly will. Just because a circumstance beyond your control has taken away some of your choices, it doesn't mean it's taken away all of your choices.
What a great couple of guests we just had.
Inspirational, moving, encouraging, and I'm sure there's several other words to add to this.
I tried to summarize it in one word, and I couldn't do one word because we already have a lot of words. But I did a sentence that says, we have successfully helped bridge the gap between the pain of losing control and the peace of surrender.
As we're on episode number 15 right now, Tim.
Wow, almost a year.
We've been meeting for over a year now, but you're right. In a couple months, it'll be 1 year of episodes. So I'm pretty proud of us for sticking with it. And I think the credit goes to definitely all of our incredible guests that keep us motivated and inspired. And we're excited to get to know them and share their stories.
Those last two guests, Bianca, DeAnda, Camie, McDonald, different people, different personalities, different stories. Man, I've gone back a couple times, listened to these episodes, and every time it hits me like it's the first time I've heard their story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've shared
Well, I would
quite a
love
bit.
to go back. I'd love to go back to Bianca, if that's okay.
Yeah. What do you want to discuss?
Episode 13?
There was a lot to unpack.
There is. And as we're wrapping up, like you said, our series on choices, I'd love to just maybe call out a couple things. Maybe I have one, you have one kind of thing that speaks to us. So is there something on episode 13 that is coming back to you?
There's a couple with Bianca. And, I was really impressed with her emotional intelligence, her ability to recognize things and move through it. And she brought up a theme that we've discussed before. And she said, once you name it, you release the shame. And I remember bringing this up a while ago. It reminded me of something that my coach had said, where you name it to tame it. And so I was immediately impressed with her ability to just recognize in the moment, like, this is happening. I don't have any control over it, but it's going to happen. And identifying like where it's taking place in her body and how it could change her. And I don't know, I really had a connection with Bianca.
Well, definitely, as you say that, losing control by naming it doesn't mean that we're losing it. We are gaining clarity. And for me, Tim, I know you're probably wondering what is mine. For sure, it's boundaries. I don't laugh. We're not going to get into this. Is not boundaries conversation, and nor do I want to hear anything from you this morning about it. But naming it that I have been weak on my boundaries is not something that I should feel shame for or that I haven't done good enough, but I can bring clarity to it and work on it in different areas of my life. So that's it. I'm going to skip over it.
Well, I think that's the challenge for anybody is, you might identify like, I haven't been good at that in the past, or that's brought me shame or discomfort. But, it's part of education and learning. And the next time it happens, you find yourself in a spot where you're like, I need to set boundaries for myself. You're going to, and you have been.
Well, and I think it leads perfectly into something else Bianca said, and that is growth happens in the quiet, unglamorous moment.
Totally.
For me, that definitely just stuck with me. And what does that mean to you, Tim, when you hear that?
Again, it's just becoming a better version of yourself as you move forward. You're always going to have those moments where you look back maybe 10, 20 years ago, or even a week ago, and you're like, God, I really screwed the pooch on that one. But the next time it happens, you're ready, and you have a better outcome. And you might even fail 2 or 3 times or not do so well in that situation, but that's
also
an
she related it to
unglamorous moment.
timelines, right? And those unglamorous moments of we set a timeline for ourselves and it's not turning out the way that we thought it should be. So that growth that happens into rediscovering a new timeline for yourself. For me, that definitely resonated with my heart, because after losing Carla, the timelines that I had set, those had to be restructured. And there was a lot of unglamorous moments in this last 20 years of growth. But I I feel really great where I am in life right now.
Good.
It's
You
taken a
should.
while.
Yeah, well,
And
and think about next year. You'll feel even better.
well, I sure hope so. But something that I read, and it says, control wants results, growth happens in process. That's pretty good.
Let me think about that. Say it one more time.
Okay. Control wants results, growth happens in process.
Okay.
Doesn't
I
speak
can
to you?
No, I can picture that. I can think of some instances where
Yeah.
you're trying to control a situation because you're trying to get the results that you want.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's almost like they're
Yeah.
two separate words, but when you put them
Yeah.
together, then growth happens in the quiet and glamorous moments.
Yeah. I can't wait to have Bianca back on trauma and crises, and a subject that I know is going to be touching when we get to it, and that is suicide and
Mhm.
prevention. And so she said that she would love to come back
Yeah, I think
and
that's great
share with
because
us.
Bianca DeAnda, those of you who haven't listened to episode 13 yet, go back and listen. Bianca
Hmm.
showed up as the Rosen family friend. And so it'll be great to get her back on as her clinical psychologist lens is speaking to us.
Exactly. Exactly. She was very vulnerable. And also, who was vulnerable was our guest in episode number 14 as part of our Choices series. And the word taken was focus of our conversation. And
Mhm.
that's beautiful Camie McDonald, who openly shared some emotions, losing her son Aiden to a fentanyl overdose. Boy,
Accidental,
oh boy,
accidental fentanyl
accidental.
overdose. Yep.
Yes, and her story is moving. Aiden, there were so many takeaways. Was there anything that jumped out to you, Tim?
Well, first off, I just really enjoyed meeting her and her vulnerability of speaking of losing her son. Her whole family just they sound like amazing people. I felt for her, but I also admired her courage. And she had mentioned we have to learn how to support each other in new
Mm,
ways.
yeah.
I don't know why it attached to me so much, but I really
Hmm.
liked thinking about if you think about even a marriage. Bethany and I have been together for over 20 years, and we've grown differently, but we
Hmm.
still continue to support each other with the main goal of loving each other. But it
Hmm.
looks different from year to year, decade to decade, and
Hmm.
you evolve, I guess.
When she talked about learning new ways, and she really gave a lot of credit to therapy. And it was very encouraging especially for somebody who's sitting there who's afraid to go to therapy, learn a new way to take back control of
Hmm.
their circumstance. So if that's something you're struggling with right now and afraid to take that step into therapy, listen to Camie's encouragement, and it makes you want to get out there and start therapy right away.
It's a process and it
It
takes
is a
time,
process.
that definitely isn't controlling it. It's growing, right? Growth
Hmm.
happens over time. And she was
That's
awesome.
right.
What did you take from it? What was your main takeaway?
Well, I think that there were so many, again, but when she said life keeps moving and we have to find a way to move with it, I definitely felt that, Tim. I could relate it to after I lost Carla, stepping out of the house, for the first time, getting back into normal routine of things without one of your kids, for me, I could see it visually when she said it, is that the whole world is moving. Have you ever watched those movies when they speed things up and it's moving really, 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 really fast?
But the person stays at the same rate,
The
the same
person
speed.
stays at the same. That's what it felt like. And that's what she was describing, that life keeps moving. Everyone is still, the graduation is still happening, the shopping, the family dinner, all of these things, and your world has stopped, and you have to figure a way to get back into it. So to me, that really touched me.
It's a good visualization. Makes you kind of seem like you're a stranger to the world when everything is moving
And
at the same pace, and you're
you
not.
have to learn. You have to learn how to get back in there. And so, is there anything else as we wrap up, Camie's, that you want to point out to?
Again, just being able to recognize what's happening around you, for good and bad, I think is a practice that's hard to do. But even when you are gardening, I bet you take moments where you just kind of stop and you listen to the breeze or the birds, and you appreciate the sun on your face and the soil in your hands, and just taking that moment to just really appreciate what you have in that moment.
I do. I do. And I think that definitely falls into something else she said that I had written down. And that was, it changes how you see everything. When you have gone through such tragedy, definitely changes how you see everything.
So what shifts in you? Just curious. What changes in you when control is removed in a situation and you recognize I'm losing control? What changes in you or your approach?
Well, for me, I recognize that I have to surrender. I recognize that I need to trust the process and pray more, read more, find just peace and letting go and strength and letting go. What about you?
I guess just peace, like you said, but I say acceptance. I often understand that the only thing I can control in any situation is my breathing and my temperament and my attitude. And so when I know things are just slipping away, I just take a deep breath and just relax, because like you said, life keeps moving, and you can either be stressed out and worried and angry, or you can just be in control of your own attitude.
There's something that when we're saying control that came up was, I remember way back when Cole was little, he said, "Mom, why did Carla give up and die? Why did she give up?" And I said, "Cole, she didn't give up. She gave in to what God had planned for her." So I relate this back to control and peace. When to keep holding on, fighting, what do we have control of? And what do we need to let go of? So for me, that brought that back right now. If I can shift gears a little bit, and as we're wrapping up Choices series, is I want to invite people to share their stories. If you're listening and you have a story of hope and encouragement that we need to put into one of our Learned Wisdom series, so how would they do that, Tim? How could they share that with us?
Gosh, they could DM us on Instagram. We've got a YouTube channel that you could leave a comment. You could go to our website.
LetItBePodcast.com if you would like to send us an email.
That's right.
If you would like to send us a DM on our Instagram, it is LetItBe.podcast on our Instagram.
LetItBe.podcast.
Yes. So reach out to us. We want to hear your stories, because we know there's lots of them out there.
Absolutely. And we actually have had someone reach out of late, and on one of our upcoming episodes, we'll have gentleman joining us. Yeah, talking about courage and what a story he's going to have for us.
Wow. And either one of us knew him, and we met him for the
Mm-hmm.
first time when you were here in Nashville. So I know you're going to ask me, Tim,
Mm-hmm.
have
I
I
am.
picked out any scripture?
Have you picked out any? I know you were excited about maybe a couple things. So curious, what have you got for us?
Okay, well, I have picked out two scriptures for us. And the reason I picked out two, because when I was doing my reading and just doing more research on control, there's self-control and discipline. I have one for us, and that one is Proverbs 25:28. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. And then, as part of controlling words and actions, I found Proverbs 21:23. Watch your tongue and keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble.
Wow. Say that one again. Read that one again. That was good.
Watch your tongue and keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. Because we can control our words and actions, just like you were saying. So look those up. And Tim,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a song for us that would fit control?
I do. I only have one song that I chose. And it might be maybe a little off the mark. I don't know, but it's called Sinner Man by Nina Simone.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No, I have not.
So it's she wrote it in 1965, and it's a 10-minute jazz folk interpretation of a traditional African American spiritual, which she kind of pulls from previous chronicles. Anyway, it is about a sinner's desperate attempt to hide from divine judgment. And
wow, Tim.
It's a beautiful song. And basically, so there's a line in there, go to the devil. And it kind of references a consequence of him waiting too long to repent and feeling abandoned by the divine, but still choosing to move forward. And
wow.
I'll have you listen to it. I thought you might like it. I bet you've heard it.
Oh, well, I can't wait. I'm going to listen to it today. And wait a minute. I think there's something you wanted to share with us also, because we talked about this briefly and I said, oh, no, don't share anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened to you the other day. And
so I tried something.
think we should share.
I'm happy to share it. So I was
you had
going
control.
in. I totally had control, and I was going into a situation at work, and I wasn't excited. It's one of those kind of uncomfortable scenarios where you're going into someone that you just have to have a talk with. We'll say that. And there was a lot to unpack, and I knew where I wanted to go with it, but I knew it could go in any direction. And so I prayed. And not only did I pray, but I wore your socks that you bought me that say armor up. I've worn them twice just to kind of get that strength. And you helped me. So I appreciate you giving me strength to armor up. But I said, in a very non-traditional way of praying, I said, hey, dude, God.
Big guy up there.
Yeah. We don't often talk, but we do occasionally. And I just said, I need some strength. And I know I'm not going to have control over the way that this goes, but I know that the end result is going to be where we need to be. And so help me focus on that the end result is where we need to be. And I also need your help in protecting this individual to make them strong and honest and resolute in what they say. And got out of the truck and kind of stood up straight.
Had your armor on?
Pulled my shirt down, and there was that deep breath I took, and I just went in, and the scenario went as well as to be expected. I know that I can only control the outcome for me. This person can only control the outcome for them. So that's where we're at. So thanks for letting me share.
I'm proud of you, Tim. I am so proud of you. And I am so just beyond filled with joy that you had that moment. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like I said, as an agnostic, you don't close the door to understanding, right? You actually leave the door open, and you put in French doors because you want the opening to be bigger.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice. I like
yeah.
that. So, Tim, before you leave us with our question to think about and reflect, self-reflect on, was there anything else that you wanted to share from Bianca's conversation?
Yeah, she didn't have a nonprofit, but she did leave us with the crisis hotline number, 988. That was really cool. She's like, I don't have a nonprofit, but calling attention to if you're in crisis, if you're having those suicidal ideations, if you need help, 988.
And what question do you have for us to think about, Tim?
When control has been taken from you, what is your non-negotiable choice?
Goodbye, friends.
Bye, everyone. We're so glad you're here. Did today's episode give you a little boost of hope and encouragement right when you needed it? If it did, we'd love it if you'd hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe even share it with someone who could use a little light today. For extra content and more from this podcast, make sure to follow us at Instagram at letitbe.podcast. And remember, there's still beauty unfolding in your story.